Hey y'all, it's Amanda and this is my Texas Zone 8 garden, and it is the very end of the day, like almost 7 o'clock at night. We are about to get some rain, so Jeff and I thought we'd come out here and enjoy the coolness for a little bit and do a little mini front tour of the front garden and the side garden. Okay, so everything is looking really nice. Let me rephrase that. Everything is either looking really nice or it's dead. So we don't have a lot of in-betweens right here. So I'm going to show you guys some of the stuff is dead. Petunias. Petunias are on their way out the door. But there's so many other things that are prospering in the garden right now. So we're going to start right here. We've got our little quick fire hydrangea. This is its third year and it's putting on a lot of growth. Really, really pretty. It's working great in this space. It typically is a lot smaller at the beginning of the spring and then it grows larger. And so that really works for this space because a lot of things around it don't grow as much during the hottest times, like when this is going really well. But yeah, it's really putting on a lot of growth. It blooms white and then kind of fades to more red tones, which is beautiful. Okay, so right here we've got petunias that are dead. Got some more that are already dead. And then these are dead across here. The Cardana salvia is doing great in this space right here. These might look okay, but they're really not. They're on their way out dying. Petunias right here. I will say it's kind of, we're getting to some time where like my salvia has really flopped over here. Jeff, let me come around so you can kind of show them a little bit about what's going on. Like I'm getting new growth for the salvia down low and it's kind of all flopped over. So this is just like a white mealy sage salvia I planted years ago. I thought I moved it and it keeps coming back. Now I will say that my gaillardias, I had several gaillardias in here. And you can see this dead and dying petunia here. I had a couple of gaillardias that really struggled in the spring and they both ended up dying and not coming back. So this is the third one right here. So I had 1, 2, 3, 2 are dead and the third one is holding on and really beautiful. I will probably pull these and put in a couple of additional gaillardias because I love them for the summertime. Okay, so a couple of things. Up here, we have that basket that I was working on. We have the Triscantia, the Purple Heart coming up, blooming beautifully as well. And we have the Impatience and Patience going here. So this basket is looking absolutely gorgeous. This container down here, we're starting to get a little bit of chlorosis with the petunias, which is, you know, typical. It's where it kind of turns a light green and then you can see the dark green veining. And like I said, petunias are on their way out right now. So I'm not really worried about doing much with it. Once these fade a little bit more, I will replace them with a more sun heat loving plant. But I do saw my geraniums doing well, and actually this verbena, it's a white verbena, is starting to put on new blooms. So that's all doing real nicely. The dianthus right here is doing good. It could use a little bit of pruning. I really need to come do a video of some super harsh pruning. Get some stuff taken care of. Now right in front of it we do have, this is the Backlight Phlox, Garden Phlox by Proven Winners, and this is its third year, I think, here. It wasn't super happy the first 2 years. This year it looks really pretty and is doing really well. Very happy with the look of that. It's a perennial in my area. I do have some other phlox. I think this is called Pinkadot. But you can see a lot of it's bloomed out, so I really need to come in and deadhead this. And in fact, this petunia is kind of falling on it. There we go. So I do have new blooms, but I need to come back and cut out some of these spent blooms to encourage it to put on new growth. But I have another one back behind me too. And I do have lantanas starting to fill in. All those little lantana starts I started are starting to look really, really good and starting to put on some blooms. That hummingbird moth is so pretty. He likes those petunias. This is the time of day that they usually come out. I know, he's so pretty. Those petunias are perfect for him. Then while you're looking at that, you can also see the mums that are all coming in. This is a purple mums, which is a perennial in my area. That particular mum is. And in fact, that guy has gotten so big that he definitely needs to be trimmed back. Not trimmed back, he definitely needs to be divided. So I think I'm going to divide it into 3 plants this fall. We're going to be dividing a whole bunch of perennials, so y'all stay tuned. But I think I'm going to prune him back, or divide him out this fall and spread him out in this front portion of the garden because I really like having that burst of purple, and then of course having all those really beautiful green leaves. Okay, right here, all the limelight hydrangeas are coming to fruition. They're all looking really good. I'm not seeing any signs of rust issues yet, but those typically will hit pretty soon. These will probably bloom by maybe second week in July, second week in July. They'll look really, really beautiful. They'll bloom gorgeous, and then they will all start getting this kind of rust that they get every year. I'll allow the rust to continue until it kills the whole, kills all the foliage. The foliage will fall off. I'll cut everything back. The foliage will spend the rest of the season growing back. Happens every year with me. I've tried several different fungicides, different things to battle it. Nothing has worked. The only thing that works is just to allow the rust to run its course and then cut back the whole plant, and then it reinvigorates itself and does great. Now across the front of here, we've got tons of coleus looking beautiful, all grown from seed. I've got this guy right here is Black Dragon. Absolutely beautiful, looking really good. This one multicolored one right here is Sunset Calacha. Both of which I grew from seed, which is really beautiful. And you see it's starting to intertwine with this lantana, and this lantana is called Confetti Lantana. Actually, let's see if this guy's kind of pull him forward. And so this is going to continue to fill in. The hotter it gets, the better looking this lantana is going to get. So it's going to be really nice. And actually, when I was planting the lantana, I did some pretty harsh cutbacks on some of this coleus in the front. It wasn't actually when I was planting the lantana. It was after that big, massive windstorm we had, and a lot of it broke. But you can see all of it starting to come back from the base. That's why you're seeing some of them that are way taller and then some of them that are much smaller. I'm pretty obsessed with this Calacha Sunset, all this color right here. And I'm going to get more of these seeds. I think I got them from Baker Creek. I can't recall. I'm going to get more of these seeds, and I'm going to grow a lot more of this next year because I love it. And of course, the Black Dragon is absolutely stunning. We are getting to a point where a lot of this needs to start getting cut and utilized in cut flower arrangements, and then it will start regrowing from its base. This one's getting pretty good, and it's kind of closing off of this Adoration Barbary back here, which is really, really pretty. And I don't want it to necessarily cover all this up. But one thing I will say is a lot of the coleus is covering up my lupin that I grew from seedling, which I think are biennials, which that's why it didn't bloom this year. So it's covering this up and kind of saving it from the heat. So I'm really hoping that the lupin holds on, perhaps goes dormant and then comes back this next winter to actually give me blooms next spring, but we'll see how that goes. Okay, so right here, my banana cream Shasta daisies are looking spectacular, which is shocking for me because y'all, I don't like Shasta daisies, but I love these. They're so fun. It makes me want to plant more Shasta daisies. I know y'all are like, what? That's insane. Oh, he's just kind of hanging out. Did you see him fly by? It is getting to the point where I need to deadhead some of the older blooms, get those cleaned up. You can see I've got a couple of lantanas in the front. These are proven winners. I think they're marmalade. They are starting to put on a lot of color and looking really beautiful. So those are going to continue to fill in throughout the season. Towards the back here, I've got a lot of brand new perennials that were planted last fall. This is a pink profusion salvia, which looks like it's ready to be cut back as well. It's got a lot of growth at the base of it. You can see down here. So I need to cut back all these long stalks and then just allow it to regrow from the base. Need to do that. Now the Persian shield at the back, the purple silvery tones, are starting to put on some height now that we've got more heat, and those will eventually get to almost 3 feet tall, and they have that beautiful spectacular purple color, which will be great. Now those are an annual in my area, but an annual that I think is well worth the cost. These are just going to look wonderful all the way up until frost. Okay, this right here is my summerific hibiscus. It is cocoa cherry latte or cherry cocoa latte, somewhere that combination. And I actually have my very first bloom today, and it's ridiculously giant. He's already been bloomed all day, and these blooms don't usually last more than a day. But just for reference, here's my hand, and I have giant hands. Isn't that gorgeous next to the really dark foliage? And then my daughter was out here looking, and she was saying that the soon-to-be blooms look like little cupcakes almost. So she was really fascinated with how they were looking. But I have struggled a little bit with this plant. It is perennial for me, so it comes back every year. I've struggled with the branches getting really tall, which is great, but they keep snapping. They're really brittle. And so this originally had like 5 branches, and now we're down to just 2. We are getting some regrowth of some smaller ones coming from the base. I think I've got it supported now. I think in the future I'm going to have to put a more hefty hoop around it or something to really help it be stronger, especially during the storms in our spring. Now, at the base of this, I've got petunias still here that were grown from seed. They're not looking really great. They're starting to suffer from chlorosis, and so I'll probably change those out come into June or July. We'll change them out with something that really, really loves some heat. The lantanas will fill in that space, but we're going to put a few more things. Probably some purslane, which is probably one of the only plants that I feel super comfortable planting in the hottest times of the year. Now I'm going to step back here and let Jeff swing around and show him a couple of things. So I did discover that this right here is the return of a perennial that I planted last fall called Amsonia. And I thought it had died, but it made it. So that's exciting. So it's not going to be doing much in the next couple of years, but it is just chilling and hanging out. And we've got our grape queen asters, which are putting on a lot of blooms. And we will be cutting these back right around the first week in July. To encourage them to regrow and bloom for the fall. These are really pretty. I actually got those from Lowe's. Now we do have petunias right here that are done. You can see how yellow and how much chlorosis they have. We'll probably be filling this with something like purslane. And I do have a rock rose, a Texas rock rose, which is getting all caught up in the dahlia beside it. This actually needs to come out this direction. But I have a Texas rock rose, and its blooms are closed right now because they close at the end of the day, but they're a bright pink, absolutely beautiful. Does great in this area, and I really just wanted to run wild here. Here's the pink bloom, sweetie. Sorry, I moved too fast for you. This guy loves the heat, puts on lots of beautiful bright pink color. And then right here across the front, we have a Calamintha nepeta. That has white blooms, really pretty. I was thinking about cutting some of this for a flower arrangement, which I would love to do. I need to get out here and do some of that. I think that would be fun. Okay, dahlias. These are the dahlias that come back for me every year. They were a lot further along, and they are in really good shape right now. But and they're about to bloom, and of course they're going to bloom right after I go out of town, of course. But we had those really strong winds, and it broke a ton of really tall stems. So I do have these a little bit more supported with peony hoops at the bottom, and then some iron stakes in here, which will help. I have a lot of volunteer zinnias coming up here, and I say volunteer, but I do remember that I went and grabbed a bunch of zinnia seeds and tossed them out here last summer into fall in hopes that they would be doing this. So they're all definitely starting to put on a lot of growth here. We have another lantana. This is a Texas Gold, which is, I think it's Texas Gold. It's gold something, starting to fill in beautifully, and it should eventually, by the end of the summer into fall, cover this whole area with these bright yellow blooms. Okay, so moving this way, we have a lot of awesome things, and then we have some things that aren't doing really well. So these petunias on this side are not as in bad of shape as the things in the front. They've held on a little bit longer. However, I am seeing some chlorosis, so they are on their way out. Now, let me get Jeff to come a little bit closer over here. The new Caryopteris that I planted here, I believe this is blue pavilion of some type. This was a new perennial that I picked up at one of the Master Gardeners show, and it has like quadrupled in size. It's looking really, really good. So I am hoping for some blooms this summer from it already. I'm shocked. I did not think that I would have that, but it's looking really beautiful and it's looking happy. Now behind it is one of the planters that took a nosedive during the harsh weather, and it is looking much better after it got picked up, and it has the double deep salmon zinnias starting to bloom in it, and these will get really profuse and bloom over the edge, but those are a beautiful color right now. Down here we have the Helen von Stein lamb's ear, and it's actually putting off a bloom, which is really, really pretty. Very unique. I haven't really seen mine bloom before. It must be very happy in this spot. I do really love lamb's ear. I would love to divide these out some more and put some more of these as borders for my gardens. And yes, Jeff stuff's back. You can see like this looks really nice at the base of the boxwood over here. And then of course you're gonna have, soon you're gonna have the purple blooms of the Caryopteris, and then we have them intertwined with petunias that look like they're just about to burst into bloom with new blooms, which is great. Now to the right here, this taller plant right here. This is a pugster, blue, I think it's blue pugster butterfly bush by Proven Winners. And this guy had a lot of damage from the winds. So that's why there's like a really weird gap here. I ended up having to cut a whole bunch off. He is looking pretty good. It definitely needs a little bit of trimming. He had actually usually suffers from spider mites every year, and he definitely had a bout at those right at the beginning of the spring season. But then, since then, he has battled back and is doing really, really good. So I'm real happy with that. Across the front, we have all of the autumn fire sedum that is blooming like crazy here. I really need to take some time and try to propagate some of this. That would be really nice. Maybe we'll look into doing that in July. But it's doing beautifully, starting to put on all of its color. And it's been very happy in this location. This might be its first summer here. I think I moved it in the fall. I can't recall. Now back here, this stuff that doesn't look very good. Now I'll have Jeff come closer so you can see some of the disease it's dealing with. This is my meteor showers verbena, and it got demolished in the storms. And so I had to hack it back quite a bit. And it has since struggled with some powdery mildew, which it actually typically does at the end of the season. It does not typically struggle with it this early in the season. But I did cut it back, and so you can see all of this up here, the fresher green growth. So hopefully we will have blooms before the rest of it succumbs to the powdery mildew. Typically when it comes to the powdery mildew, I just cut it all the way back to the ground and don't stress about it, because fighting powdery mildew is just not something I have interest in. I don't really enjoy it. This is another Caryopteris that is tucked in here. He, I think, let me see. These are all, this is all, I'm sorry, I'm looking at all this. These are petunia blooms all stuck in here. This is a pink, I think it's Pink Sunday Caryopteris that's coming up right here too. I think once I pull out these petunias at the base of it, it will have a little bit more freedom to spread out, which would be really nice. And then to the right of that, we have a little bit more of the meteor showers verbena, but we have these coneflower right here, which are called Paradiso Super Duper Echinacea. And I grew these from seed. And this is its third year, and it's really starting to put on some more height and bigger blooms. Last year, I would say the blooms were only maybe 10 feet off, or 10 inches off the ground. So those are looking really good. Okay, so this is one of the planters I planted up. Now, what ended up happening is the workmen, when they were here working on my French drains, they used my hose on this side, and they turned off the faucet. Just trying to take deep breaths, not get too upset about it. But the planters are what really suffered. It was only a couple of days, but that was just too much for containers, and they really did have some suffering. I need to come in here and do some deadheading and trimming back. But they are coming back to life, just not as in good a shape as they used to be. Okay, so I do like showing that I've got the double deep salmon zinnias here, but then I've also got them down here and in other places in the garden to really tie together multiple places on the side, and they are really starting to fill in. They did well in their transplant. Now right here doesn't look like much, but this is one of the roses that I recently transplanted. This is one of my neglected roses that I did not take care of this past spring. That is an at-last rose, and so I drastically pruned them back, got them planted in the ground, and fingers crossed that I saved them, that they're not going to die. Now, they are going to take a little time to come back. Like, I don't expect blooms from them this year. I'm just hoping they survive this summer. And then hopefully next spring, maybe put on a little growth. We'll see. It's going to take a couple of years, but truthfully, I just forgot about them, and I got distracted by everything going on in the spring, and I just didn't get them planted. So here we are. They're planted now, so we'll see what happens. Okay, so over here, this month we did a dramatic cutback of the spireas, and we did a dramatic cutback of the weeping willow, or the weeping redbud Ruby Falls. It's already starting to put on a lot more growth, which is looking good. And then we did a focusing on plants underneath. We already had all of these echinacea and coneflowers. They were already here from last year. And then I added zinnias, and then I added vincas. And I told y'all that I struggle with vincas. Like, they just don't do well for me. Typically something eats them or whatever. Well, now I think they have some disease or something. So I'm going to have Jeff come closer and show you what's going on. Some of them are beautiful. Others of them are terrible. And they are all well watered, y'all. So Jeff will show you the bad ones. It's easy to pick out, huh, sweetie? And even some of them are just like this. But then right beside it, we have this, right? But then at the tip of it, it's showing the same kind of disease or whatever stress that these were showing. So we have, it's just, I don't know. Y'all tell me, y'all vinca people, tell me what's going on, what I did wrong, why these aren't looking good. They are getting full sun. They're getting plenty of water. I do not know what the deal is. I'm super disappointed because it's super spotty. So I probably need to go buy something else to fill in this space because I don't like this space to be spotty. And I like to have more blooms and fullness across to act as a living mulch, specifically to keep my weeping redbud well hydrated in the summer. So we are probably going to have to put something else in here. But yeah, I don't know if I should try vinca again. If not, I can do purslane. I can do some more zinnias or something, but yeah, I'm not looking really good. Okay, so the purple balloon flower or blue balloon flowers getting to the end of its season, looking really pretty, filling in here. Lots of weeds. This is the weed that is the bane of my existence right now. This guy, I think it's spurge or something, but it is everywhere. It's super easy to pull, just very, very annoying. I'm actually seeing some purslane that reseeded itself, so maybe I'll dig that up and put that somewhere. I did have a bloom, and I'm shocked. This is a purple echinacea that I grew from bare root, and I grew it from bare root starting this year. This plant is over 2 feet tall, and it has a big, beautiful bloom. And this plant can get 4 or 5 feet tall. So as Jeff steps back, I'm going to show you, the idea is that it will eventually really fill in this location. So it should do really good. It thrives in our weather. It should love the west sun because this whole portion of the garden is facing west. But yeah, really, really, really like that. Really excited to see that growing well already. All the bearded iris are done. Now this is one of my favorite perennials, and it's a phlox, but he shows up later than everybody else. And this is called a Red Riding Hood. But don't let the name fool you. It is more of like a fluorescent red. It literally is day glow, y'all. It's so beautiful. I got this from Bluestone Perennials. But it's just doing beautiful. This is its second year to bloom for me. And I mean, look at these. They're just so gorgeous and so fun to have in the space. And as Jeff steps back, you can see like the bright pop that it really puts out in this location. Okay, I'm really loving how this garden is coming together. The perennials are absolutely beautiful. Right here, I have my Windwalker Red Salvia, which is doing its job. This is one plant, and it's massive, probably 5 feet across. Basically, it walks between all the plants and fills in space. So beautiful color. Over here, I've got my double scoop bubblegum echinacea over here, and he did get pushed over in the weather, so I did push him back up. And then over here, I'll get Jeff to come do some close-ups. This is Chocolate Cosmos. Absolutely beautiful in this location. More of a burgundy tone, but really fun as a cut flower, but also just fun in general. And then I love that it's backlit with this red riding hood phlox. So as Jeff steps back that way, I just love the whole general look of this direction in this area. And even like the bearded iris, right? The leaves, kind of a blue-green leaves coming up is really, really pretty. I've even got some lantana tucked in a few areas, and it's starting to grow its way out too. But it's just, everything is just really filling in nicely. And this bed just really shows a lot of what I want my garden to look like. I don't want to see soil. Like, I love this whole front border is all filled up, and that is the ultimate goal for me. I don't want to see any of the soil. I want everything filled up and beautiful. Okay, this is the bougainvillea tree that I bought for Mother's Day. It looks really bad. It's not doing good. It's struggling. I've got it hooked up to drip. It's starting to put on a little new growth, so I think maybe it's starting to recover. I stuck it here for now so I could put it for drip, because right here is where I used to have the Golden Falls Weeping Redbud, and that is the guy that broke during the storm. He literally snapped off. Jeff can come show you the stump at the base. So I just stuck this tree here for now. I don't know, y'all. I am not good with bougainvilleas. Like, I just kill them. I don't know what it is or what I'm doing wrong, but those of y'all who are like savants with bougainvillea, please help me. Please tell me what I need to do. There are other things going well. This is a retro Echinops perennial that I got from Bluestone Perennials. This is its second year to bloom, and I'll get Jeff to come closer. I'm making you go back and forth a lot of times, sweetie, just so that they can see how beautiful these blooms. And they have just a very soft blue, and they're not prickly. They look like they're prickly, but they're not. Very cool flower. I'd love to have more of these in the future. And I love how it's backlit right here with the kaleidoscope abelia, which is putting on tons and tons of growth. Like, I think I can start harvesting some of these for arrangements. Now on the front, we have a salvia here that's putting on some pretty growth. We've got verbena tucked in different places, which is really nice. Over here, we have some of our verbena. Looks like it's getting eaten up a little bit, but then I've got some zinnias tucked in. And then the border is very full in this direction. And I'll have Jeff continue to shift this way. Okay, so right here is my wildberry powwow coneflower. It's doing pretty good. It is struggling from a little bit of spider mites and some damage from the storms. So some of the leaves aren't looking as great, but it's still putting on tons and tons of blooms. Lots and lots of blooms. This is my favorite coneflower to plant in my garden. Any of the powwow series, they have it in white too. And I'm pulling up spurge like as we're talking, y'all. And I see a little bit of Virginia creeper in there. I'll pull that out as well before it gets out of hand. Okay. So, but look at the color combination between these like lemony tones and then the wildberry. And then in front we have some zinnias tucked in here, and then we have the cat's pajamas nepeta with the purple, and then tucked back in here with the orange rocket Burberry. Like, it's just, this whole area from multiple angles is just beautiful. Now back here in the corner is one of the recent roses that I just planted. This one is called Earth Angel. This is one of the ones that I was trying really hard to kill, and then decided to get it planted in the ground, so hopefully it does better. But as Jeff steps back, if you can envision in the future a 5-foot creamy pale pink rose bush in that area, It'll just fill that space in beautifully. But this whole front border and all these overlapping perennials, like this is goals. Like this is what I'm aiming for in the rest of my garden. So this area, and let me stand back one more time, Jeff. Why don't you center yourself? Good? Pulling weeds. It's not done, right? Right here is going to be a blue-green evergreen of some type. Right here, we're going to have an additional tall container with some type of rose bush in it. And then we're going to continue to fill in front of it. Right now, it's got all these gladiolas. We're going to continue to fill in with additional perennials will be the goal. I don't love the gladiolas here. They end up falling over because we get so much wind here. I do have a purple echinacea coneflower that matches the one to the right. I have it right here. It will get tall and fill in this space. Got a couple of other ideas, but everything from here forward is gorgeous. Everything's going in the right direction. I just have to work on some bigger elements right here. The element when we used to have the Golden Falls here, it's perfect, absolutely perfect, but now that's gone, so that's sad. I haven't told Jeff yet, but some of y'all made suggestions that I should dig this up, the base of it, the stump of it, and pot it up and see if it'll continue growing. But I will need Jeff to dig it up. Love you. Okay, smoke bush. This guy was leaning dramatically after the crazy winds. Several of y'all suggested that I, go ahead and put it back up. It ended up righting itself, so it's doing better. Remember, I took off a ton of weight in the front and off a lot off the top, and it ended up putting all the weight towards the back, and it has righted itself. So it's in much better shape. Feeling much more comfortable about it. I probably should go ahead and stake it anyway. I haven't done that, but I probably should. Down at the base, we're at the end of yarrow season. I need to get out here and cut them back. I don't love the yarrow there. It's just there for now, so we'll just let it go. I am loving this kind of soft blue rush grass that I've got here. I think it's looking really nice. Back here, I've got my Russian sage, which got a really hard pruning after the storms because it had all fallen over, so it's filling in nicely. I also have a pink guara coming up here with a random sunflower in the center of it. This is a pink guara, and it looks like it's getting close to beginning to bloom, which will be really nice as well. A bright pop of pink in this area I think will look really, really good. Okay, and then we're ending over here. I did plant a rose back here. This is a Belinda's Dream, and it should grow up and have beautiful pink roses throughout this space. I think it gets 4 to 5 feet tall. Should fill in that space beautifully, and everything else is kind of just a mess right here. We had a lot of work done with the French drain, and everything's kind of wrecked in this direction. But I did want to make sure I pointed out that rose. This area also has Iberis Candy Tuft perennials that I started from seedlings here. They are now dormant for the hot weather. And it did have a couple of Cleome that I grew from seed, but they were doing terrible, so I cut them back as well. So it doesn't look super great right now, but didn't I plant? Oh yeah, I did. I was going to say I planted an iris back here, and then I think I demolished it when I was trying to plant my rose. It looks like it's still there. Hopefully it'll be okay. But let's walk back to the front and chat about everything. Okay, I'm pulling grass, so I'm sitting here. Okay, so it was good to take y'all across the front and side yard. I took y'all for a shade garden tour at the beginning of this month, and I totally forgot about coming out to the front, but wanted to get this done before we head out of town and before everything changes, because when we go out of town, especially for the amount of time we're going on, garden's going to look completely different when we get back. I fully expect a lot of dead stuff because that's just how it rolls. We're going to be going into the hotter part of the year while we're gone. We're going to Alaska, and it's going to be in the 40s and 50s, but it's going to be super hot here. So I wanted to give you guys a walk through this area before we did that, but feeling really good. Still lots of really pretty color. The things I thought would be dying are dying. So that makes me feel good. Like I have a good idea and understanding of my garden. I feel really good about that. It's not a lot of giant surprises except for the vincas. Don't know what's going on with that. So whatever, if you guys have any advice on that, I'd love to hear it. And definitely when I get back from vacation, we're going to be pulling out those. They should be fried by then, but we'll be pulling out all the petunias and replacing them with some really heat tolerant, heat loving color. Most likely purslane, zinnias, celosia, things along those lines. I think will fill in the space really nicely. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this tour. We beat the rain. It was really nice because it's not burning hot outside right now. It feels really good. And as always, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Every time you like and comment, it helps grow my channel so much. And be sure to check me out on my social media outlets, including Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, she's a mad gardener or a decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.